Hey everybody, welcome. This is Art Today TV's YouTube channel, and I'm Greg Masters, co-founder, co-creator of Art Today TV. In the box here as producer, and with me, joining me, is the talent in the box, the artistic talent in the box, my uh, best friend for life and colleague, Lon Levin. Lon Levin. Okay, so we are together um, creating this site called ArtToday.tv. And our mantra is artists helping artists heal the planet. So our vision is to put the focus on artists who are creating art to have a salutary, beneficial effect on the environment, most specifically our oceans, which is the canary in the coal mine of the toxic waste and pollution we just dump into this receptacle, thinking somehow out of sight, out of mind. Well, guess what? It ain't. It's maybe out of sight, certainly not out of mind, at least for those in the art space who want to contribute conversation, content, what have you, to this healing the planet objective, which is well worth anyone's time. Climate health, ocean health. So with Lon, we launched Art Today TV, and we've been creating content in this space. One thing that we were able to do is, with Lon's interest, we got into the is AI art question. And we've taken a position that yes, AI is art. However, the artist's touch never loses sight in the creation experience. AI is a tool. We're using it. You're seeing it in front of you right now. This art
Right.
has been
Exactly.
created with AI, courtesy of Lon Levin. Okay, Lon's
Mhm.
got a history. So before we get into Aquariosity, I want you to hear a little bit about Lon and where we're going with this, because ArtToday.tv is the beginning. The piece that we're going to now feed is ArtChatTV, and that's going to put this man in the box, wherever he is, which side of you, in the box, talking to other artists, okay, who are invested in healing the planet and have a message.
Well,
So,
other creative people as well. We don't want to curators, museum directors,
other
etc.
creators, yeah,
Yeah,
and certainly curators and galleries that want to support this vision, this quest, if you will, that will include them as well. But the idea is you have a guy formally trained, and he'll tell you more, in art, UCLA and Art Center, two major academic settings for the arts.
right.
And
Two
he's had a
degree,
rather,
two degree.
yeah, he's had a
I
rather,
want to make sure that they know I have degrees. I didn't just go to school for a month.
right. He has two BFAs, right?
Two BFAs,
Art
exactly.
Center and UCLA. Okay, so but the point is this, is that you are a real artist. You create art, and now you're
Yeah.
leveraging AI in your artistic portfolio, so to speak. So tell us a little bit about you, Lon. I mean, yeah, you got two bachelor's degrees from top
Yeah.
institutions in the country, but talk
Whoopee.
a little bit about your experience in the space, particularly as it relates to digital, and now how digital is really being swapped out for AI. All right, who are you, Lon?
Well, I
Tell us
was,
about.
well, as you said, I have two degrees, one from UCLA in fine art and one in from Art Center, which is a design and advertising degree. So it spans a lot of areas. My expertise, which has been developed over a long period of decades, uh, but my background starting as an illustrator and an animator, morphing into being an art director for feature films at 20th Century Fox and then Sony and Warner Brothers and Saban Entertainment. I functioned as a creative director and an art director. And and I have a lot of experience in all sorts of disciplines, going from logo design to brochure design, posters, uh, video, trailers, all kinds of things that relate to entertainment. Sometime a few years ago, maybe almost 10 years ago, I transitioned to get into, well, more than 10 years ago. I'm skipping over the digital stuff. The digital stuff that came into being in the mid 80s was something that I jumped right on top of. I don't know why I felt that I would know how to work in the digital area, but it seemed very native to me. So I did whatever I could to learn whatever I could. I never
And here we're talking about the rollout of Photoshop.
Photoshop, Illustrator, early on Quark, which later became InDesign. Every program I could get a hold of, I tried to learn and master. Uh, I have ADHD, so it's very hard for me to concentrate when reading. So I just figured things out somehow on my own. And then I asked a lot of questions of people who I knew more than me. And so I was one of the early adapters of digital artwork, and I was the one in some of the companies that I worked for that actually brought computers into the art department when there were only art tables and T-squares and that kind of stuff. And the same kind of attitude that pervades now with AI was the same as accepting digital work at the time. Everybody said, ah, it's a fad, it won't work, there's no way to print anything out, all these complaints, it's going to destroy everything. And there were a lot of people who decided, I'm not going that way. I'm not going to learn how to design on the computer. I'm just going to go the old way, cut and paste and, you know, paint and stat machines and all that kind of stuff. And they were left in the dust after a short while. Fortunately for me, it accelerated my advancement because people knew me as somebody who understood computer graphics and digital artwork and all that. So by 1990, I was already pretty well known and won some awards for some stuff which I look at now, which is really primitive, but those were the times. But the same prevailing attitude was it's fad. It's not real. It's not artwork. If you're cheating, all this kind of stuff that we now hear about AI. So what happened was it became acceptable. And after a long period of time, it's the norm. Everybody uses computers now. Everybody uses digital artwork. Everybody uses photographs online. When AI dropped, what was it, like 3 years ago? Something like
November
that.
2022.
2022. Okay. So here
Chat
we are, well,
GPT
three
launched.
and a half years. The second I even knew something was available, which was on my phone probably, with Picasso and Plantation. I think it's called Plantation, Paintation, or something like that.
Oh, it was
I started
Picasa. I remember Picasa. Yeah,
Picasso.
yeah,
I started using all of them, but
yeah,
just thinking, oh, wow, this is incredible. And it blew my mind, actually,
yeah.
what could be done. And so it struck me the same way that digital art did, that I had to jump in, I had to do it, I had to learn about it. And the blowback from a lot of the illustrators in the commercial artwork, where a lot of creative directors and owners of companies said, hey, I don't have to pay an illustrator, I can just do something on AI. I think it's frightened a lot of illustrators. I know personally a few who said to me, this is all fake art. It's destroying the industry. It's taking over. It's soulless, all this kind of BS that we've all heard. And I didn't think so, and neither did you. And so we thought, no, this is a great thing. Let's learn how to use it and do it. And uh, I remember early on seeing people uh, who are artists going online and just loading up 4 or 5 different things that they had just done on with AI. And if I saw how they did it, or I asked them how they did it, some would tell me and some would not. And same process that I had with digital artwork, with how to design things digitally, all that type of stuff. Same artist, same type of artist would just say, "Hey, if you do this and that, you'll get something interesting." What I search for in my work and in the work that we do is to do something that is not just a one prompt thing. So meaning I don't just use Chat GPT and say, render me this, and then that's it. I don't do anything other than talk. Usually I'll run it through 4 or 5 different apps, getting different looks all the way along until I get something that looks real and natural and something that mirrors the type of artwork that I actually can do traditionally because that's the way I was trained. I won't really do anything and I don't show it if it looks like something that only AI could create. So
So the
yeah, you
point
want to rein
being,
me in
you
here?
what's that? So
You want to rein me in here as I babble
no,
on?
I want to add a little context.
Okay.
It simply is the parallels now between digital art V1 1.0
Right,
versus the the argument that could be extended that, well, with the launch of AI, it's just round two. Art, is so the question is, AI art, is AI generated art? And we took a position on that, and we were invited to speak in San Miguel de Allende in the
right.
extension of
For
the University,
ideas.
yeah, Ideas Fest,
Yeah,
which is extension of the Universidad de Guadalajara, you know,
right,
and we were very well received by the audience. Lots of conversation, lots of follow up. The sponsors
right.
told us that everyone was very exceptionally happy with our segment, and our segment was talking about, is AI a friend or foe of the
Yeah,
creative
exactly.
process? And
Exactly.
our thing was, it's a tool, just like going back to the days of rolling out Photoshop and incorporating that in the artistic creative process.
Right,
AI is no different. So anyway, we got noticed, and we gave a presentation, and kind of that led to an invitation from a local artist to be part of an exhibition, a 5-room exhibition in a major museum, Baroque museum in
right,
Querétaro, Mexico, a very
right.
large, prominent. And we were there for 3 months in this exhibition because we did the immersive room. So, what you're seeing here in the background is the idea of having this immersive experience, which we were just watching on 60 Minutes with this Rafik guy.
Rafik Anadol, yeah.
Yeah, it's
The
just
number one guy
so
everybody
it
knows
was
for
like, it's on
being,
60 Minutes. So we knew and we know we're in the right space of creating these immersive environments. Okay,
yeah,
so what we staged in this museum with Terry Tomlinson, who was the artist, called Paper Reimagined.
right.
Beautiful Medusas, these hanging jellyfish, which we lit up, and we created bioluminescence and wall to wall. It was just, go anyway. So our project here, which we're here to talk about, really is the first installment of Lon Levin in the Box, talking about this project called Aquariosity.
Oh, the curiosity.
Okay, a
Right.
curiosity on the channel ArtChatTV. So we're
Mhm.
the first in a series. Lon's going to anchor it, whether we do it weekly or bi-weekly or whatever the frequency that makes sense for us winds up being. That's what we're going to commit to. So we're going to talk about this project, Aquariosity, for this first episode of ArtChat.tv. Okay, so Lon, what is Aquariosity? Where did it come from? What was the birth in your mind, the origins here, and what does it mean?
Well, the core origin dates way back to when we were kids, and we would go surfing and we loved the ocean. And so I've always had an affinity for ocean. And I remember early on, I think I've told you this, that I was surfing once I might have been 16 or 17. I was out at El Segundo Pier. I don't know why we're at El Segundo Pier. It's one of the worst places to go to as a surfer, you can
A little
imagine.
petroleum problem down there,
Right,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So we were there, and of course, on the pier, they were processing, right? Processing oil or whatever. And we would constantly be getting tar on our arms and backs and plastic things floating along. And at that point, there was no real consciousness about saving the ocean or any of this kind of stuff. It just was like, oh, okay, let's try and avoid the tar if we can. We didn't realize how bad it actually was. So my experience with the ocean, was a very positive one for surfing, and you and I met that way. I think probably on the beach somewhere back in ninth grade. But so that's the core, is feeling comfortable with the ocean. Um, it started as an artist, to jump forward as an artist in coming down to San Miguel and wanting to explore what I thought was important for me to do as an artist. Uh, that's one of our helpers in the background. Get back to work.
This is organic, baby.
Right, yeah. So so I remember it must have been in 2022, 2022, that our other friend in this little grouping, Alan, invited me to Kauai, where he has a condo. He says, come to Kauai, and for my birthday, my wife paid for a trip to go to Kauai to visit my friend Alan. And while I was there, I was talking to him, and I said, I have this idea. I want to shoot underwater. I want to get into the water and let people feel what it's like to be in the water. And I called that Ocean in Motion. And I did a lot of simple underwater photography while I was there, in various different places, in the ocean, in a pool, wherever there, in a little bay, wherever I could get into, and try different things. And I put that together when I came back into an idea. And one of the ideas was, I had seen something online about immersive and what could be done with AI, and I thought, well, let me see if I can apply it to what I want to do here. And I took some stills of the artwork that I had created and put them in a setting that was an immersive looking setting where you would have video on the walls or in frames. It was a concept.
Concept thing.
It was a concept thing, and while I was doing that, I started toying around with AI and trying to make artworks, one of which is one of the early ones behind me, was creating this underwater ocean based on the photographs. So I'd load up the photographs into the app and see what I came out with, and then got more precise about the prompting. And I felt a little bit constricted by the fact that it was from photographs. So I tried to think of another way of going about it, and the word Aquariosity just came to me. It's one of those things. I have no idea how, or I wasn't thinking about it, just came to me. And it said a lot to me. It's, the whole idea of curiosity, of what's happening in the ocean. And it's like a gigantic, humongous aquarium that we all could take part in, so to speak. So I came up with this Aquariosity idea. And at that point, I started to get a little bit more adept at AI, and I started generating imagery, as much imagery as I possibly could do, some of which, or I'd say most of which was not very good, but some pieces came out and were just marvelous. And some pieces came out did not work well digitally, but I thought would work well as paintings. So I started working in Photoshop and working with different uh, applications digitally to change and format until I would get something I'd like, and then I'd use that as the uh, comp, so to speak, of a painting I could do. So the actual background behind you is something that I created based on paintings. So that stuff was actually painted. Uh, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to have work that spanned digital, AI, and traditional so that it all looked like it came from the same guy. And it all looked unique to me as the creator using these different tools. And so that took a while to get AI to start looking like original type paintings was not easy to begin with. Now it's a little easier. They've come up with different apps that do stuff. You still have to control it as a human. You can't just press a button. I remember I used to work for Saban Entertainment. Haim Saban, who owned the company, used to come down to me. I had the only computer in the company for artwork or design, and he'd come down and watch what I was doing, and he would say, "It's too slow. It's too slow. Press the button." And I said, "What button?" He said, "Press the button that makes the computer do all the work." This is what people thought, and some people still think that. You press a button, the artwork comes out, and you don't have to do anything. You go to the beach.
I mean, kind of like the experience we just had on Zoom. What button? I don't see it.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. So I wasn't too far off when my association with the fusion of the creation of this concept of curiosity, of aquarium plus curiosity equals Aquariosity.
Yeah.
And one
Curiosity.
reason you might want to be concerned about Aquariosity, the state of our ocean's health, is that we are dependent upon that ecosystem, which is showing high degrees of stress and strain. So this idea, if we can get people to think more, if we can get people to move away from out of sight, out of mind, and really understand there's a problem out there that our life choices are directly contributing to how we live, the discardable nature of our society, this demand for constant growth to just feed this never-ending stream of microplastic pollution that gets dumped into the oceans. I mean, we really need to reflect on that. So while we were developing this, someone came into our world through a mutual artist friend, Bobby Van. Shout out to Bobby. She introduced us to Terry Ann Tomlinson, who's the artist with which we collaborated to create the immersive experience in her 5-room exhibition that ran for 3 months at the Museo de Querétaro. Museo de Art de Querétaro. Shout out to Antonio, the curator.
Yeah.
Anyway, she kind of came into a world at that time, and we said, wow, this is kind of interesting. Here we are baking this Aquariosity concept. Here we are leveraging AI into creating an experience of that concept, the ocean in motion, Aquariosity, sustainable health in the ocean space. I mean, she came on board. We wound up doing this immersive room exhibition, and it was a smashing success. I mean, we were going for the wow effect of when they entered this room after the prior rooms of the exhibition, and they entered the room. Universally, the reaction was wow.
Which is what we were hoping for.
We were hitting that was we were
I want to go back to something you said before, where you're saying, you were saying it kind of conceptually, that there's all this stuff out there, floating around, that we're not dealing with as to the ocean. Well, it actually, it's a literal mess out in the ocean, the size of Texas, right?
Yeah, the Pacific garbage patch, right?
Together, it's a garbage patch that no one's doing anything about right now. Because it's so huge, no one knows how to deal with it.
Well, unfortunately,
out of sight, out of mind. But
it's being consumed, and it's being incorporated, ingested in the food chain.
Yeah,
Okay, so
not a
as you
good
go,
thing.
no, no. Considering the incidence of neoplastic disease,
Mhm.
aka cancer, and other toxicities, PFAS, all these sort of forever chemicals that are floating out there in the ocean and poisoning marine life as
Right.
well as us, the consumers of. So, so here comes this curiosity idea. Here, Terry Ann Tomlinson enters the equation. We create this. We go down the route of I want to talk about because this relates to it. The first thing that Terry shared with us is what really prompted us down a certain path, which got us to the point of the technical challenges that we were facing to create this immersive experience. Okay.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
what she provided us was it looked like a cylindrical aquarium
Oh, yeah.
surround right, and we're going, wow, how are we going to do that? We're going to create an hologram.
Exactly.
I mean,
We wasted a lot of time on that.
well, yeah, but the idea is this exhibition is perfect for the sea worlds of the world. Okay. Any
Oh, yeah.
aquarium, any marine life dedicated or focused gallery, display, what have you, this is a perfect exhibition for. So, let's talk a little bit more about what we learned with Terry and how we're bringing that forward into the Aquariosity project. You've also mentioned this ocean in motion idea, and you gave some history there about why that was part of the
Right.
conversation today. But elaborate more on like what we're seeing here, what we're seeing there. Because this is
Um,
AI generated art, right? Were these
well,
sketched? Were
yes and
these
no.
sketched on canvas? I mean, how
No,
did you
really,
do this?
how this evolved was there were some early on explorations of doing underwater stuff based on the ocean in motion photographs and digital artwork that I had created. I just felt it was too real. It looked too photographic. No matter what I did to it, it still looked photographic, which really irritated me because I wanted to come up with something different. And so I would run it, those photographs, I would run it through an AI app. I don't remember which ones at this point. And some of the time, what I would do is I would convert it to a pencil drawing, through AI, then take that pencil drawing, load it back up into something else, and say, I want it painted like a Chagall or a Matisse. Those are two guys that I really love and think are great artists. They were great artists. And so I would start getting what you're seeing behind you, all kinds of strange shapes and motion and so when I saw that, I said, well, I'll add seaweed into it, I'll add kelp into it, I'll add creatures that have been altered from the toxicity of the ocean. And I start coming up with these incredible images. And then I would go back and say, okay, I want them to look like an oil painting or something like this. And I would get something that was even more amazing. I use them because I wanted to go large. I use them as the inspiration to do paintings. So some of what you're seeing behind you is coming from painting. Some of it's coming from digital work. Some of it's coming from the underwater. It's all mixed together, which is what I wanted to do with the different medias that I know how to use, different mediums, and uh, and to get something that I felt was unique and would attract somebody. And just to point to on that point, I told you today I talked with somebody in Venice, Italy, okay, who immediately, and she's Turkish, and she immediately responded to the word Aquariosity. She knew exactly what was meant, which I found to be amazing. And I said, I don't know if this is an issue where you live. And she says, it's a big issue. She's in Venice, Italy, with the canals, same type of problems, you know, dealing with. So I think it's a universal thing. I think it's something that everybody will respond to. It's so that encourages me more to keep pushing. I think I what? Hello, Greg.
Okay, right. All right. You're on mute. Okay.
Okay.
So that's all interesting context and background and totally relevant. So, that helps me because as I've seen this art before in real life,
Mhm.
it's always struck me, yeah, it's dark, it's kind of sharp,
Sure.
it's meant to be disturbing. So it's a little unsettling.
It's
And
disturbing yet beautiful.
yeah, no, beautiful. No. I
I
mean,
mean, in a way, because you want
so
if we were just showing disturbing stuff,
yeah,
people wouldn't be very
but
excited.
it's fair to say it's dark, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so it's kind of dark. It's sharp, right?
yeah, a lot of angles.
Yeah, a lot of angles. It's sharp, contrast. And the other thing is you mentioned, you want to illustrate, some of the uh, downsides of this microplastic pollution ingestion
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
food chain as it's picked up by marine life, and then it creates birth defects like a third eye or a
yeah,
fourth fin or
exactly.
I
Well,
mean,
that's part of what
well,
you're seeing with some of
that's
those
why
kids.
this is dark. So if you I would, and I would want to see making that more the deformities, making them more pronounced.
Well, that was
So
the balance. How
yeah,
different, there are
right,
fish, even in the one
right,
behind me,
right,
there are
right,
fish
right,
or organic
right,
creatures of some
right,
sort
right.
that are really almost whimsical
Yeah,
in nature,
yeah.
you know,
Okay. So
and not scary.
so I want to wrap this up for this
Yeah.
session, but what we want to do is preview this launch of ArtChat .TV,
Hmm.
which is going to host and feature a series on deployment of AI in service of art. Okay,
Right.
and we're going to do a series that you've penned already, originally for LinkedIn. I believe you had 52 for weekly, a
Oh,
post
yeah,
for
yeah. 52 weekly.
52 every week, a post
So
on,
it's really how to become a working artist.
right. So that's going to provide, we've kind of got a curriculum here and
Yeah.
a quarterly breakdown of topical themes you're going to address, but each one of those will be supported by a blog post, art, and a live stream where
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
discussing with either stuff you've done or artists you've brought to the table to talk about the work that they're producing, like perhaps this person you mentioned over in Venice. Okay.
Right.
So I want to thank you for your time today, Alon. I'm glad we sort of planned this excursion into your history and life and what the intentions are going forward. So, any last words before we close it out?
I would just say, pay attention. Pay attention to the environment, what's happening. And, there's so much happening in the world today that's negative. It's not
Mhm.
good. It's inhumane, all that type of stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, there's a lot of good stuff too. And that's stuff that should be highlighted so people are aware of that. There's
Mhm.
got to be a
Mhm.
balance. So we're going to
Mhm.
do our best to put forth ideas that people can be helped with in their travels, artistic travels, and also just information. Here's what's happening visually or conceptually. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned and never underestimate the power of the art to influence culture.
Oh
And right
yeah.
now, our culture's sick, needs a lot of healing. So there's power in the collective consciousness, commitment towards climate health, ocean sustainability. That's where we're at, and that's going to be our legacy
Hmm.
as two
Yeah.
guys who've been on this pale blue dot for at least 7 decades, and still at it.
You're giving away. I thought people would think I was a lot younger.
Surfing, where is it? There it is. Surfing, skiing, creating art, having
Yeah.
fun along the way.
We're
So,
still out there in the water.
oh,
We've talked
yeah.
about that. My knee
Well, you
replacement.
you you threaten it. I actually paddle out, not with much frequency, but yeah, I do paddle
Well,
out.
you were always a better surfer anyway.
So, anyway, follow us on. First of all, subscribe or follow us on ArtTodayTV. We're going to post this clip on our homepage, which will introduce Lon, myself, the Aquariosity project, what we're hoping to do here as artists helping artists heal the planet. So
Mhm.
stay tuned. And uh, did I say Instagram? Follow us on Instagram
No, you
at,
didn't say it, but
I didn't say, follow us on
do it.
Instagram at ArtTodayTV.
There you go.
Okay. And we'll see you next round.
Okay.